Those who've lost loved ones during the pandemic have said they are sickened by reports that a number 10 Christmas party believed to be on December the 18th last year took place, while the rest of Britain was in the grip of COVID restrictions. Although he says no rules are broken, should the Prime Minister apologise?
We're joined now by Dr Pam Jarvis, a doctor of psychology, who says many people were suffering at that time and they deserve an apology. And
we're also joined by Christine Hamilton, who says this all happened a year ago and we should be focusing on the present. Let's come to you first of all, Christine. It was a year ago and everybody is desperate for things to be better this year, to have the chance to socialise, to have the chance to celebrate Christmas with their loved ones or their work colleagues. However, I guess the point is, Christine, is that if we're to trust the government on anything, we have to trust that they were doing themselves what they were telling us to do, and the consequences of us doing what they told us to do have been devastating for many families. Not being able to say goodbye to people that have passed away, not being able to see people who are desperate and lonely. So we have to trust them, don't we?
I can't help smiling when you preface the whole thing by that. Yes, of course we do. We have to trust politicians, but that's not easy sometimes. I mean, the people who were at the same time as this party was going on were unable to see their loved ones. They have my deepest sympathy, and a very, very close friend of ours was in exactly that position. His partner of decades and his husband died, and he was not able to see him. So I know how awful that was. And I am no apologist for Boris Johnson, I can tell you. I didn't vote for him, and I think there are many reasons why he should apologise, many reasons why he should resign, frankly. But I don't think this is top of the list. We have, on the one hand, we have an anonymous source who says that this party was taking place. And then on the other hand, we have a named person, Boris, who says that no rules were broken. I have no idea, none of us have any idea unless we were at the party. But for now, I think we should accept Boris's word and frankly move on. There are more important things to be discussing. There's the, for the opposition to be focusing on. There's the migrant crisis, the energy crisis, goodness knows what. But if it, I just wanted to say, if it transpires that there was a Roman orgy going on, then of course that changes it completely. But as of now, I think we should just move on. It was a year ago.
It doesn't need to be a Roman orgy, does it? It just needs to be the rules.
Drinks, nibbles and games. Let's talk to Dr Pam. Dr Pam, you're sort of diametrically opposed to what Christine's saying with regards to this apology. What was happening in your life when this party was going on last year?
Yes, OK, so my brother died on the 18th, not from COVID, but from cancer, but all the COVID rules applied. So, people couldn't see him. You could on media, but not actually face to face. So that was that was a Zoom funeral. And then my mother died 7 weeks later. Same thing. She was very old. She had final stage Alzheimer's. So this is what people are going through. But I think my story more is that I put out a tweet saying that I was, horrified at the that this was going on the 18th. And my Twitter feed just went crazy. And I've got so many people telling me stories of people dying, not being able to attend funerals, all sorts of things. And funny enough, bringing up the rear is parents whose kids are students who were fined for actually partying over Christmas 2020. Yet this was apparently going on in Downing Street. And if it wasn't, I'm quite surprised that there have been no moves from the government to say, well, stop libelling us. We didn't do this. Yeah. But I don't hear that coming, so I presume that it was actually happening.
The Prime Minister wasn't there, so he can't be directly attributed to breaking those rules. Downing Street have told us no rules are broken. What would satisfy you?
I think I would like to know the truth. Did the Prime Minister know that this partying was going on? I gather he's the boss, the manager of Downing Street. It's not actually his home, is it? It's the residence and the office of the British Prime Minister. And the fact that so many British people were losing relatives, were not able to say goodbye to them, were not able to go to funerals. One of the people who contacted me said actually because of the situation, said goodbye to their relative on WhatsApp. That was it. That was the goodbye they got. and the fact that, you know, some kind of partying was going on at Downing Street. Can we, you know, it's very difficult for me to say I want him to do this or that, because I actually don't know what was happening. I just know that the mass media are telling us all sorts of things that if they weren't true, then surely some government spokesman would come forward and say, you know, stop this. It didn't happen.
Christine, Angela Rayner has asked for there to be an inquiry into exactly what happened. So hopefully we will get more clarity and detail on exactly what was going on. The vast majority of our viewers, and I think Dr. Pam is saying there as well, is, you know, no one has flatly come out and denied that there was something going on. All they have said was all the rules were adhered to. The question is how they could have a gathering of that many people and still be within the rules. And still be within the rules. They've not clarified that, of course, and this is the key thing. But, you know, you have been married to an MP who served public life, and you understand the importance of, as Kate was saying, making sure that your constituents trust you, and trust is fundamental. The amount of people that are getting in touch with us, Claire says, it's an absolute disgrace. I couldn't have a proper funeral for my dad. I couldn't see him before he died. The government is shocking. It has no respect for anyone. Even for her, a sorry is not enough. And that's the issue, isn't it? It feels like... On all those other issues
you were talking about, Christine, that we want to move on to, if those issues are going to move forward, we have to trust the government.
Of course we do, but what my opinion is that what was so wrong was that the people were not able to see their loved ones at the end, that they were not able to have proper funerals. I think those restrictions were draconian, they were cruel, and they were, in my opinion, they were unnecessary. That, I think, was the first big wrong, that people should have been placed in Pam's position, which is absolutely heartbreaking. I just feel about this party that... Now, I understand, as you say, Angela Rayner has asked the police, apparently, or asked the Cabinet Secretary to ask the police to investigate. So we may discover the details. If it was a party within the rules, I honestly don't see, a year on, why the opposition are spending their power on it. If it wasn't within the rules, then, of course, that's completely different.
But how could it have been in the rules, Christine? We're going round in circles, because at that point it was two people in a bubble. But look... I
can't remember what the rules were a year ago, frankly.
Right, OK.
You were allowed certain gatherings if you worked together. You know, were outsiders there? I don't know. Were any members of the press there? Nobody's come forward.
They weren't allowed to be social gatherings, and they weren't allowed to be drinks.
Christy, we'll leave it there, but I think your point is that we need more clarity, and
that's something we all can agree on, isn't it?
Dr. Pam, I'm sorry that you went through what you did, and I think you want clarity too. So hopefully we'll get that. We are talking to Oliver Dowden. Of course, a little bit later on, aren't we? So hopefully he might have some more clarity.
So many of you getting in touch, a lot of anger.
Yeah, and what you'd like
says,
from him.
I want an apology, and I think there should be fines as well. Lots of people got fined for what happened to them. Mike says, yes, and resign. He's destroying the country. It's lies and arrogance at every turn. And then Lucy says, I wouldn't believe him even if he did apologise. That's the problem, and it's the trust.
That is the problem that Boris Johnson, the government, now find themselves in.